One season, one final crossing of time, and a truth so dangerous it could cost more than one life. Outlander. Season 8 is not asking if someone will die, return, or time travel again. It's asking who will survive the truth when it finally comes out. Because this final chapter isn't built on comfort or nostalgia. It's built on consequences. And once the past and future collide one last time, nothing and no one will walk away unchanged. Outlander. Season 8 is not designed to give easy answers or gentle goodbyes. From the very first hints, it's clear this season exists to collect the emotional debt the story has been building for years. Every secret buried, every sacrifice ignored, every truth delayed. Season 8 doesn't rush toward an ending. It tightens the rope slowly, forcing each character to face the cost of the life they chose. At its core, this season is about identity. Who people really are once history strips away protection. Claire has lived between centuries long enough to understand that time always demands payment. Jamie has built a family and a home in a world that keeps threatening to destroy both. And now, with war closing in and hidden truths rising, the story shifts from survival to reckoning. The biggest mistake fans can make is assuming Season 8 will play it safe. It won't. The tone has already changed. There's a heaviness in every moment, a sense that history is no longer waiting for permission. The Revolutionary War isn't just background noise anymore. It's a force that pushes people together and tears them apart without warning. And when war tightens its grip, characters don't get to choose clean endings. Death becomes unavoidable in this final chapter, but not in the way viewers expect. Outlander has never treated death as shock value. It treats it as consequence. Loss comes when love and loyalty collide with truth. And Season 8 positions multiple characters on that edge. Some are carrying secrets that can no longer stay buried. Others are living borrowed time without realizing it. The danger isn't just the battlefield. It's what happens when the truth finally reaches the people it was meant to protect. Then there's the question of return. Outlander has always believed that time doesn't erase love. It delays it. Season 8 leans into that belief harder than ever. When characters resurface, it's never random. Every return exists to force someone else to confront what they've avoided. Some reunions heal, others reopen wounds that never closed, and not every return guarantees survival. Time travel itself becomes more than a miracle or escape. In this final season, it feels like a curse with rules that can no longer be bent. The stones have already taken enough. Every crossing now carries permanent consequences. Season 8 treats time travel as a last resort, not a solution. Because once someone chooses to cross again, there may be no coming back. What makes this season especially dangerous is how quietly it builds tension. There are no loud warnings, no dramatic promises of safety. Instead, the story moves with calm inevitability, like history itself. Claire senses it. Jamie feels it. Even the next generation carries the weight of knowledge they don't fully understand yet. Everyone is standing on a fault line, and Season 8 exists to show what breaks first. This is not a season about tying loose ends neatly. It's about deciding which truths are worth dying for, which loves are worth breaking time for, and which sacrifices finally go too far. And as the final story begins to unfold, one thing becomes painfully clear. In Outlander Season 8, survival is no longer guaranteed. Outlander Season 8 makes one thing painfully clear very early on. Not everyone is meant to survive the truth. Death in this final season isn't random or sudden. It feels earned, heavy, and deeply tied to the choices characters have made across decades. The war may pull the trigger, but secrets load the gun. The Revolutionary War is no longer something happening around Fraser's Ridge. It is moving directly through it. Every alliance Jamie makes, every risk he takes to protect his land and people, places him closer to impossible decisions. Jamie has always been willing to die for his family, but Season 8 asks a far crueler question. What if survival itself becomes the punishment? Several characters are walking into danger without fully understanding how little protection they have left. Loyal men who stood beside Jamie in the past now face battles that offer no honor and no mercy. In war, bravery doesn't guarantee survival, and Outlander has never lied about that. Loss arrives quietly. A familiar face disappears, a voice stops answering, and suddenly the ridge feels emptier than it ever has. But the most devastating deaths may not come from the battlefield at all. They come from truth being revealed too late. Secrets that were meant to protect now threaten to destroy. When identities are questioned and loyalties split, not everyone survives the emotional fallout. One wrong confession, one truth spoken to the wrong person, and history responds without forgiveness. Claire, who has saved countless lives across centuries, is forced to confront a cruel reality. Knowledge doesn't always grant power. Sometimes it only deepens grief. There are lives she cannot save this time, no matter how hard she fights, and that realization changes her. Not by breaking her, but by aging her soul in ways even time travel never did. Jamie, too, faces the possibility that the very choices that built his family may now be the reason he loses parts of it. His strength has always been his loyalty, but loyalty becomes dangerous when the truth demands honesty instead of silence. Season 8 places Jamie in a position where protecting one person could mean losing another forever. What makes these deaths more painful is that they don't arrive with dramatic warnings. Outlander understands that real loss doesn't announce itself. It simply happens. One moment, life continues. The next, someone is gone. And the world moves on without asking permission. Season 8 doesn't promise a high body count. It promises meaningful loss. Deaths that echo. Deaths that reshape the future of those left behind. And when they happen, they don't feel like endings. They feel like scars the story will carry until its final breath. In this season, death is not the villain. Avoidance is. And the longer the truth stays buried, the more devastating its consequences become. Outlander Season 8 understands something very few stories get right. The past never stays buried just because time has moved forward. This final season brings back faces, memories, and unresolved connections, not to comfort the audience, but to challenge the characters. Every return carries weight. Every reunion demands a reckoning. Some returns are physical. People long believed lost, unreachable, or permanently separated by time find their way back into the story. But these reunions are not warm or simple. Time has changed them. War has shaped them. And the people waiting on the other side are no longer the same either. What once felt like destiny now feels fragile, almost dangerous. Other returns are emotional. Memories resurface with a force that cannot be ignored. Old promises, past mistakes, and choices made in desperation return to haunt those who thought they had moved on. Claire is especially vulnerable to this. She has lived long enough to carry multiple lives inside her, and Season 8 forces her to confront parts of herself she buried to survive. The healer, the mother, the woman who once believed love could fix everything. One of the most powerful elements of this season is how it treats legacy. Children grown into adults, sons raised without knowing the truth, daughters carrying knowledge their parents were never meant to share. When these characters step back into Claire and Jamie's world, they don't arrive as extensions of the past. They arrive as mirrors, reflecting choices that can no longer be justified or explained away. Not every return is intentional. Some characters are pulled back by fate rather than choice. War has a way of dragging people into the same space, even when they've spent years running from it. And when paths cross again, silence becomes impossible. Questions demand answers, and answers create fractures that cannot be undone. What makes these reunions so painful is their timing. They arrive when the characters are already stretched thin, emotionally and physically. There is no space to process joy, no time to heal old wounds. The story doesn't slow down to allow comfort. Instead, it forces characters to act while their hearts are still catching up. Outlander Season 8 uses these returns to remind us of a brutal truth. You cannot outrun history. You can only decide how you face it when it finds you again. Some characters return to seek forgiveness. Others return without realizing the damage their presence will cause. And a few return carrying truths that could destroy everything if spoken aloud. In this final chapter, coming back does not mean being saved. It means being exposed. And once the past stands in front of you again, there is no crossing time or distance far enough to escape what must finally be faced. Outlander Season 8 treats time travel very differently than any season before it. This is no longer a miracle, a second chance, or a doorway to hope. In the final chapter, time travel feels dangerous, exhausting, and final. Every crossing now comes with the understanding that something will be lost forever. There are no clean returns anymore, no guarantees, only consequences. Claire has crossed through the stones before with purpose, fear, and love guiding her. But Season 8 makes it clear that time itself is running out of patience. The stones are no longer silent witnesses. They feel like a closing door. The rules that once felt flexible now feel fixed, almost cruel. Anyone who considers crossing again must accept that it may be their last decision. What makes this season especially intense is the question of why someone would time travel now. There is no future left to escape to safely. The war is coming no matter the century. History cannot be avoided anymore. That means any final crossing isn't about running away. It's about protecting someone else, preserving knowledge, or correcting a truth that could destroy generations if left untouched. Brianna and Roger are at the center of this tension. Their relationship with time has always been complicated. They know too much. They've seen history from both sides. And Season 8 suggests they may be carrying information that could change everything if revealed at the wrong moment. Their hesitation feels intentional, like people standing at the edge of a cliff, knowing once they jump, there is no turning back. The possibility of another crossing raises terrifying questions. Who stays behind? Who gets left alone in a century that was never meant for them? Outlander has always understood that time travel isn't just physical. It fractures families. It leaves emotional ghosts behind. Season 8 leans into that pain harder than ever. Any character who crosses now does so, knowing they may never see the people they love again. Claire, more than anyone, understands the cost. She has already lost decades with Jamie once. The idea of separation again carries a different kind of fear. This time, it wouldn't be youth stolen. It would be finality. And that makes every decision feel heavier. When she looks at the stones now, it isn't with hope. It's with grief, respect, and hesitation. What's truly haunting about Season 8 is the idea that time travel may no longer be about choice at all. Fate seems to be tightening its grip. Certain events feel unavoidable. Certain people feel pulled toward moments they don't fully understand yet. And when destiny and time collide, even love isn't always enough to change the outcome. The season hints that someone will cross not because they want to, but because history demands it. To protect a child, to preserve a truth, to ensure something terrible happens exactly as it must. And that kind of sacrifice is the most painful of all. Choosing to break your own heart so others can survive. In Outlander Season 8, time travel becomes the ultimate act of love and loss combined. Not an escape, not a gift, but a final promise paid for with separation, silence, and the knowledge that some goodbyes echo across centuries forever. As Outlander Season 8 moves toward its end, one truth becomes impossible to escape. This story is not racing toward a shocking twist. It is moving slowly, deliberately, toward an emotional reckoning. Every choice made in this final season feels permanent. Every word spoken feels heavier. And every moment between Claire and Jamie carries the quiet understanding that time, once again, is running out. The final episodes are not about winning the war or defeating history. They are about what survives after history takes its toll. Love is tested not by passion, but by endurance, by how much pain two people can carry without letting go of each other. Claire and Jamie have already defied time once. Season 8 asks whether love can survive truth, loss, and the weight of everything they've sacrificed to stay together. There is no single moment that defines the ending. Instead, it's built from small, devastating choices. Who tells the truth, and who stays silent. Who stays and who leaves. Who accepts fate, and who tries to fight it one last time. Outlander understands that real endings don't arrive with grand speeches. They arrive quietly, in looks held too long, in hands that linger, in words that almost get spoken, but don't. The question of who dies, who returns, and who time travels is ultimately not the most important one. The real question is, who is left changed forever? Survival in Season 8 does not mean peace. It means living with memory, with regret, with love that has shaped an entire lifetime and still asks for more. Claire's journey reaches a place of deep stillness by the end, not because the pain is gone, but because she finally understands it. She has lived many lives, loved across centuries, and carried grief no one else could fully see. the final season doesn't take her strength away. It refines it. It shows a woman who has learned that some battles aren't meant to be won, only endured. Jamie, too, faces an ending shaped by acceptance rather than victory. A man who has spent his life fighting fate finally stands still long enough to face it. His love has always been fierce, protective, and selfless. Season 8 reminds us that sometimes the bravest thing isn't charging forward. It's staying, even when staying hurts. When the final moments arrive, Outlander doesn't try to comfort the audience with certainty. It leaves space for reflection, for grief, for gratitude, for the understanding that this story was never about escaping time, but about living fully inside it, no matter the cost. And when the screen finally fades to black, the feeling it leaves behind isn't just sadness, it's permanence. The sense that this love, this story, this journey mattered. That some stories don't end because they are finished. They end because they've given us everything they had. Outlander Season 8 doesn't say goodbye loudly, it whispers it. And that is what makes it unforgettable. Season 6 of Outlander closes one of the most intense chapters of Claire and Jamie's story, leaving the Ridge changed forever. The war has left scars that no time travel can erase, and the emotional weight of choices made reverberates through every character. Loss is ever present. Reunions are bittersweet. And the sense that the world beyond Fraser's Ridge is growing darker never fully disappears. This season wasn't about simple victories. It was about survival, loyalty, and love tested under impossible pressure. Claire and Jamie navigate grief and danger with the quiet strength that has defined them for decades. Yet Season 6 reminds the audience that even heroes are not immune to the cost of life lived on the edge of history. The death of old allies, the tension of hidden truths, and the looming threat of war create a tension that never fully lets the Ridge breathe. Each episode reinforces the fragility of the lives they've built, even in a place that feels like sanctuary. But this season also shows that hope persists, even when it is small and fragile. Reunions with family bring moments of relief, but they are never without complication. Old wounds reopen. Secrets from the past demand acknowledgement, and every choice made by Claire and Jamie carries consequences that ripple outward, affecting everyone in their orbit. Season 6 balances heartbreak with resilience, loss with loyalty, and danger with the unshakable bonds of love. As the season comes to a close, the audience is reminded that Outlander's story is never simple. It doesn't end neatly. It doesn't wrap up with easy answers. Instead, it leaves the characters and the audience standing on the edge of what's next, questioning who will survive, who will endure, and who will pay the ultimate price when history and fate collide. The final moments of Season 6 linger in memory not because of battles or explosions, but because of subtle, emotional truths. The silent glances between Claire and Jamie, the small acts of care, the quiet acknowledgement of fear and hope, they carry the weight of everything that came before. Season 6 is a testament to endurance, showing that even in the face of overwhelming loss, love and loyalty can persist, shaping the choices that will define the future. And as the screen fades and the music softens, the outro leaves a lasting impression. Outlander is about more than time travel or adventure. It is about humanity, about love that survives centuries, about the consequences of choices and the courage it takes to face them. Every moment of joy, sorrow, and heartache reminds us why Claire and Jamie's story has endured, and it leaves the audience waiting, aching, and eager for what the next season, or the next crossing of time, will demand from those who dare to live fully, even when history itself is against them. As the dust settles and the final moments of the story fade, one truth becomes clear. Outlander is more than a tale of time travel or historical battles. It is a story about the cost of love, the weight of choices, and the endurance of the human spirit across centuries. Every smile, every tear, every silent glance between Claire and Jamie carries the memory of struggles survived and sacrifices made. This is why the Ridge feels alive, not just with people, but with history itself, and with the emotions that come from living fully, no matter how painful or fleeting those moments might be. Season after season, we have watched them face impossible odds: wars, separation, betrayal, loss. And yet, through it all, their love remains unbroken. But love in Outlander is never simple. It is tested by time, by truth, and by forces far beyond anyone's control. Every reunion feels like a victory, but every revelation comes with consequences. Every step forward is measured against what they risk losing. This is what makes their journey unforgettable. Even when the screen goes dark, the story doesn't end. The echoes of Fraser's Ridge linger in our minds. The bravery, the heartbreak, the moments of quiet reflection, and the explosive decisions that define the lives of everyone who calls it home. It reminds us that survival isn't just about staying alive. It's about carrying the love, the grief, and the memories forward, shaping the people we become. And that is why we keep coming back to Outlander. Because it teaches us that love is never easy, truth is never simple, and every choice has a price. Claire and Jamie's story is a testament to resilience, a reminder that even in the darkest times, hope can survive. And sometimes, it even thrives. So as we close this chapter, we are left with anticipation, with reflection, and with the knowledge that their journey will stay with us long after the last word is spoken, the last stone crossed, and the final battle fought. Outlander is not just a story, it is a living, breathing legacy of courage, love, and the timeless struggle between heart and history.